A man from a small town, a man who failed, a man who was no longer young, a man who wasn't ready to give up. This man is Harlan Sanders. He had lived a full life, raised a family, worked many jobs, but at a time when most people retired, he set out to do more with his life. He had a passion, a dream, a recipe for fried chicken, and no idea what the word quit meant. And the man from a small town became one of the most famous people on the planet. What makes his story so compelling? His dream was the American dream. And his story is America's story.
I used to work here on this farm when I was a boy. This was the first job that I ever had. I worked here for Charlie Norris. I was 10 years old at that time. I got $2 a month in my board and room, and I used to room in that room right upstairs there. That's been, what, 65 years ago. He put me to work back here in the woods clearing new ground. And I cleared about an acre, I guess, that month, but there's a lot of squirrels, redbirds, butterflies, more things to attract the fellow's attention than anything in the world. And evidently, I didn't clear as much ground as he thought a boy ought to have cleared even. So at the end of that first month, he fired me and sent me home. Said he wouldn't feed me for me. So I went home, took my $2 to my mother. And when I gave her the $2 that I had gotten for the month's work and told her that Mr. Norris had fired me, she gave me a little lecture that I shall never forget. She said, "What on earth are you ever going to amount to? You're my oldest son, the oldest of the 3 children. You've got no father. I got nobody to help me depend on but you. And to think that you're so no count that you couldn't hold a job at $2 a month." Well, the time she got through tongue lashing me, I felt just about as low as anybody could have ever felt. And I made a resolve then that I would never let hours or work or anything else ever interfere with me doing the best job as possible. And if I ever got another job, I was sure going to prove to her that I was worthy of it. If you follow the formula and the procedure shown in this film, your success is assured. There's no question about it.
The process may be simpler now, but the Colonel's philosophy lives on today.
Have ambition to work, willingness to work, and integrity in what you do.
Even after he sold the company, Colonel Sanders remained a crucial part of KFC's quality image.
And I've just been tickled to death to participate in what I could to help in the growth, to help restore the company. Because we've got the greatest possibility with Kentucky Fried Chicken of any. We got a lot of competitors. We know we got a good thing, so many people trying it, chicken in different ways. They just think it's chicken. But it's got to be like Kentucky Fried Chicken if it's going to win its way in the world. If you're a dreamer and you do it, back up your dreams. I think a dream is just a suggestion to you. You do to start something out, do something. Do something, whatever. Even if you're on your own job, why, you'll dream about different things, and you can always relate it to something in your life and make it better. When I came back into the Army in February of 1907, I came to Sheffield, Alabama, and went to work in the shops of the Southern Railroad there as a blacksmith helper. I worked there about 2 months. Then I was transferred down to Jasper, Alabama, where I was to doodle ashes. That's cleaning ash pans of the locomotives the day before, preparing them for their trip, for the next day. One morning a fireman failed to show up, so they put me on that engine to fire the emergency trip that day. And I did so well that when I come back in, the engineer recommended me for a regular job firing. And I continued firing, and I got an ambition that I wanted to be a lawyer. I thought I could be a second Clarence Darrow. That was in his heyday. So I went to study law at the LaSalle Extension University. Well, 2 years later there, you see, I got fired. And so my seniority was gone, and I didn't care to ever railroad anymore.
I'm Colonel Harlan Sanders from Shelbyville, Kentucky.
This is Colonel Sanders from Shelbyville, Kentucky. Now, panel, up until a few weeks ago, Colonel Sanders was the president of a thriving business that franchised his own fried chicken recipe. Now, Colonel, you just sold that business at a rather handsome profit. Do you still have the check that you received for the sale of your business?
Yes, I have, Jerry.
We'd like very much to show it to our studio audience. Hope you haven't mislaid it.
All right, I hope so, too, because I really like that meeting.
Well, let's just show it to our audience in case some of them have just perhaps never had a chance to look at a $2 million check. A check for $2 million. He just sold his business. There you go. That's a nice little nest egg you got there.
Yeah, thank you. That'll work well for me.
I'm sure it will. May I ask how old you are?
An old lady asked me the other day how old I was, and I told her I was nearer 90 than I was 50. She said I didn't look a minute over 80, but I am 74 years old, guys.
74 years old. Well, now, the real story is how he got started in the business that he just sold. So if you'll whisper it to me, we'll show the audience at home how you went about starting your business. Here we go. Want to whisper to me, sir? All right.
Colonel, were you ever in the liquor business?
No.
No offense, sir, but you would look great on a label, I must say.
I must say I was thinking of that. You could sell me anything.
I understand the story. You had been in the restaurant business, but you sold it just before you went on Social Security,
Yes,
right?
I did. See?
They built a superhighway around his restaurant, and so his restaurant ceased to do well. But did you use any of the money that you received from the sale of your restaurant?
No, I had to use it to pay my debt.
I see. So, in effect, you were almost broke when you received that first check for $105.
That's right.
He had one great asset, which was the marvelous fried chicken that he served in his restaurant. So he then went about franchising this special recipe to different restaurants all over the state. What did you do with the $105?
You used it for travel and so forth. You see, I knew that this chicken was finger-licking good. All I had to do was to get it to the people and let them have a sample of it. So I used that in travel for restaurants, for gasoline, hotel, and my food and so forth.
And obviously, you started with one restaurant, and then you increased it to how many? Finally.
Oh, there's over 1,000 franchises over the United States, all the way from 130 miles to the Arctic Circle, plumb to the Gulf of Mexico.
And in his pocket right now, he has another check. And what is that check, sir?
Oh, that's my Social Security check for this month, but when I was 72 years old, they started, Gary, about paying me again.
Yep, now he's retired again, you see. He sold his business, he's back on Social Security, and he's gotten a raise. He's now getting $127 a month. And, sir, if you have any plans to start another business with that $127, how about let me put up $127 and we'll be partners?
Gary, I'd rather have you than anybody I know of as a partner.
Hey, look at me, Mom. We'll get rich. Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you.
Oh, sir, you forgot your $2 million.